Hey yo, what up guys? This is QB from the Chopper Express, here to bring you the last leader that we're covering, which is going to be the OP04 Rebecca deck. This was the list that I would have taken to Knoxville actually. This is the exact list I would have taken. I felt pretty confident in testing. It's been going pretty well in the last week or so. Even in some of the bad matchups, I've had seen some more success. I think as part of that's just me learning the deck. I've been playing it now for about 2 to 3 weeks now. First, I'm not gonna lie, if you're playing in this deck and you're testing it, the first week or two testing it is rough, and that's a lot of it's just adjusting to the playstyle. It's so different from anything that we've played in the previous meta. I think even though I played Law and Sakus and Lucci the last two sets, not being able to attack with your leader requires just a different mindset when you're going into the matchups. You just can't cover that difference like you usually could with attack with just swinging or just being able to game shot, or the number of swings you get per turn per game is just less, so you have to make sure that you're winning the board in a sense, so that the swings you do have are a lot more impactful, because now your opponent has to actually give cards in order to keep them. And I think that's where the deck kind of thrives. What it really wants to do is try and remove as many minions as possible and build its board while it's doing it, so that now when it starts swinging for 5s and 7s, those aren't just free hits because your opponent can't take the opportunity that the game isn't as long as I think it really is. I guess this is the best way to say it. In my opinion, it's top 3 going into this next format. I wouldn't pick it to play, and I wouldn't pick it to win Knoxville due to the fact that I think it's one of the most heavily targeted decks going into Knoxville. I think every player that is participating at Knoxville has tested this deck the most, but I think the thing that kind of gives this deck a little bit of edge, even against people that have tested against it, is that everybody's going to be at different skill levels with the deck. So even if, for me example, even if I test with my friends, I may not be the best with the deck, but there's probably somebody that they'll play at the event may either be worse or better. And people that are better than me, they may still struggle against. But hopefully the matchups, hopefully whatever they play, whatever they decide to play, gives them a better opportunity into the match to try and take away that skill difference that the Rebecca player can kind of take advantage of in situations. I think some of the matchups that is kind of bad against, you're thinking about Katakuri and Crocodile, and then maybe Queen. I haven't really tested too much against Queen. In theory, I think it's just a long game, probably a long game, and kind of whoever messes up first is probably going to be the one to get punished. And the good matchups, though, are going to be the green-purple Dofi. I think Law is solid. All the red decks are pretty solid. I think every other deck outside of maybe... There's still probably one really bad matchup, I would say, and I think that matchup's pretty bad. Then probably two, I don't know, 70-30s, and the other one's probably a 80-20. I think Cat, Crocodile, and I would say... probably those two are probably the two hard matchups. But I think you just have to play them kind of slow. Especially with Crocodile, I think you just kind of want to try and run them out of removal, which kind of sucks because that's kind of what your deck loses against. But you just kind of want to you can out advantage them in cards. But the problem is that if you give up all your cards trying to and give them cards at the same time, that you kind of fall into the hole that they kind of put you in, which is now y'all are even on cards when the Crocodile deck doesn't really generate any cards. And now they can block out of your Luffys in the late game, or protect their Mihawks from your Luffys in the late game, and things like that. But let's just go through the list real quick. So let's just go over what Rebecca does. She is a blue-black leader, dual color, 5 life, which is part of the benefit since she can't attack. Every turn you can rest it on if you have 6 or less cards, reveal the top 2, pick a Dressrosa, trash the other one. I think it's really strong. Like I said, advantage deck. You're just trying to gain as many free cards as possible, but you're also trying to set up your combos a little bit, so your Sabo into Leos, or your Sabos into Kiros, or not your Sabos, your Olympuses into Kiros, or your Olympuses into Leos, trying to set up that to remove board. Your Olympus is probably the best card in the deck just because it sets up all your removal really well, and that's kind of how you take advantage of the game. So let's go through the deck. I decided to play 3 Kaya. I think she's just the best blue 2K right now, but also I think some of the cards that could fill her spot are Tashigi or Suru. I think it's just going to depend on what kind of list you're playing. I decided to play this card because I feel like it's more of a consistency card. I want to if I do decide, the way I think about 2Ks is if I do decide to play it, what kind of effect am I really looking for? And for me, I think I just want to make sure that I'm playing the game as much as possible. So Kaya kind of fills that role. I think there's benefits to all of them. I think the benefit to Suru is that it makes minions more makes top like 10 drops and top end easier to remove. The benefits for Tashigi is that it has actual stats, so it's actually a minion body that you can play and still see that benefit of it being a minion body at some point in the game. While the other two are just zero cost, so like there's just nothing you can do with them. They're not just restless, so you can't pop them with Orlumbus. So it's just different 2Ks. Kind of depends on the situation. I can see arguments for all of them. I decided to just go with Kaido for consistency reason. 3 Kaido. This is so like there's probably like 6 tech spots in the deck. So like you can kind of play what you kind of finagle around with how what you want them to be. I've seen some people play Isho, I've seen some people say 10 drop Kuzan, I've seen some people play 4 drop Kuzan, I've seen some people play Garp. What else is there? Cavendish. There's like so many different options. There's so many different things you can put in this spot. I think it's just gonna depend on the meta. And I think that's kind of what Rebecca has the benefit of, is it can shape its list to fit the meta and it fit its tech cards for the meta while still accomplishing what it's trying to do overall. And just because it has so much space between blue and black, which are both removal I guess colors, so you have that option. So yeah, I think 10 drop Kaido kind of plays into your your bad matchups really well. But also, if I'm predicting that the meta for Knoxville was going to be green purple Dofi, Cat, Rebecca, and then maybe there's a 4th deck, they're like either Croc or Law or Croc, Law or Whitebeard, then I think that I felt like Kaido gave me the best shot against those decks, because it allows me to set my opponent back by a turn. Because if you can bounce up to 11 and Dawn, essentially, if you bounce to 8 costs in a 8 costs and a 3 cost, or it basically almost makes your opponent have to skip their turn to rebuild the board that they just brought out. I think that's kind of the benefit to it. And then it's just a 12K swinger, so it always demands something. Once you get to this point in the game where it drops, it almost always demands something from your opponent, whether it be a blocker or cards or a life. It always gets something out of it. Like, they don't really have an option in that sense. But this is a card I decided to go with. I saw a lot of people playing it over in Japan, and I feel like in the early part of the meta, I think it's going to be test out really well. So this is what card I'm really excited about. I decided to play 3 ADO. This was just to fit in some other cards. I think last night I was testing with people, and I wanted to fit in Leo into the deck. I felt like I hadn't tested the card enough, and this just was one of the cuts. It was a 4 of, and just a 3 of, just a 2K blocker. 4 Olympus, to be honest, probably makes the deck work the most, because it allows you. That's how you gain advantage. Whether it be like combining Orlumbus with like Rebecca to pop Rebecca or Leo, or combining it with a Sabo turn so that you don't have to pop anything, or trying to pop Kuros, just how you build your board and out advantage your opponent. But basically what it does is once returned, reduces cost to one of your opponents by 4, and then trash the top 2 cards of your deck and KO of one of your disruptive characters. So like, and it's a 1K counter 4/5, so that's how you set up your pop cards. Gets 2K counter. Don't ever play this card, guys. Every time you play it, it's probably just a trap, to be honest. Even if you're testing it, it's just almost never correct to play this card. I learned that pretty soon. But basically what it does is it gives less one of your Dressrosa catchers attacks a active card. So, I mean, there may be like a situation come up, but like it does not. I guess my thought was, when I first started playing this, I thought it gave cards rush. It does not give cards rush. So you still have to like have like the field spell to give things rush, so just it usually doesn't come up. Kuros, probably one of the best cards in the deck, kind of like what allows your deck to out advantage your opponent, because this card basically can't die, it's sticky. Basically what it does is if this character would be KO'd, you can rest either your leader or a quarter Coliseum. And then it says if your leader is Rebecca, KO to one of your opponent's characters which costs 1 or less, then trash a card. So you cannot. So the thing about this, guys, remember, is you don't have to trash card. You don't have to KO an opponent's card, so you can just trash the card for free. So it just moves cards too. So that's also an advantage. Advances your game state. Saba, probably one of the best black cards that came out in this set. It's just so versatile in other black decks, so I think it's gonna be really strong. But I think we already went over this card before in other videos, so I don't have to go over it now. But everybody knows about Sabo. Bart, 2K counter. I think we went over this in another video as well. Card's really strong. 2K counter blocker. really good. Luffy. It's probably the kind of way you would most of your games. This card can attack active characters, so you can combine it with Corda Coliseum. Then now you get the swing on your first turn, which is really important. And I would say in the Queen matchup, and it's really important in the Queen matchup. Helps you keep from getting decked out. It's also important in the yellow matchup because a lot of what this card does is try and clear the board in those matchups because you're just under the assumption that like your opponent is going to have removal for it. So being able to just try and clear their board, and if you're able just to get that clear, then that's good enough for you. If they clear it back with like an effect like Katakuri or Mihawk or King Kong or Red Rock or things like that, then you're okay with that exchange just because you're able to clear 2 for 1 and they kind of skip their turn because they have to pay the Dawn for those cards. This is the last 2 edition for me, Leo. This card's actually just really strong. Actually, in testing, it was going really well just because it's something you can fit a small with Orlumbus, so it can fit a small curve with it, and also, and I guess that's the biggest thing. So early in the game, I was having trouble like setting up Kuros pops with the amount of Dawn that I had. So I would set up like Orlumbus on 1, and then Orlumbus on 4 Dawn, and then the next turn I have Sabo in my hand and Kuros, but I can't do that till my 8 Dawn turn. So now you're able to like have the option to do that on your 6 Dawn turn, which means you don't have to play your 3,000 worlds on like a 5 drop at that point, which now that means your 3,000 worlds can now get to an 8 drop the next turn. So like it just fills out the curve a lot better when it's in the deck. I can see it going up in account as the format goes along, whether that be me cutting another card for it, but I think right now it's pretty strong. So when I first tested it, I felt as if the deck couldn't pop anything 5 or greater, so I think like consistently, so that's kind of why it's at a 2 of. For Rebecca, search your card, don't need to explain it really. Search the top 3, pick your source card, trash the rest, fits into what the deck's trying to do. 3,000 worlds, we know what this card does. King Kong Gun, double attack if you have 15 or more cards in your grave. Biggest advice when you're looking at this, do not fall into the trap of trying to set up the Luffy plus King Kong Gun, OTK, and stuff like that. That's how you lose a lot of games. You just want value off your cards. So if you have to do this in order to trade over 2 minions for free, then you do this to trade over 2 minions for free. Do not like, that's more like clearing the board and establishing that kind of game state is more important than trying to inflict 4 damage onto your opponent at one time. Like you're not an OTK deck, you're a control deck. So that's how you want to think about it. 2 of the Destruction Short Thunder, I think it's like something else in here, and the TCG or whatever, but basically KO up to 4 or less, and then if you have 15 more, 6 or less, and the trigger is to pop a 5 or less. I think having a combination of these 2 in your deck is really strong because now it gives you, I forgot the math on it, I want to say it's like almost a 50% chance of having one of them in your life somewhere, which is really important because if you can get these cards, if you can get these trigger effects for free, then it kind of makes the game easier because you don't have to remove those cards, and KOing a 5 or less is actually really, really strong. And then Corda Coliseum. And so that's the list. Due to my time today, I don't know if I have time to play one or not. I'll go ahead and play one and see what it is, see how it goes. Yeah, so I think that the decks are super strong. I think it's well positioned. I don't think it's well positioned right now. In my opinion, I think it'll struggle in Knoxville. After Knoxville, we'll have a couple of online regionals. Decks like this don't, in my opinion, don't really fare well in the online regional. We're gonna go ahead and go second because he's playing Lucci and he's playing black, so we can just go second and I'll keep this hand. Decks like this don't tend to fare well on. I will do this first. Grab Corda. Do this now, and then I will grab. I think Sabo is more important than Kuros, but I think Kuros is. Because what, next turn we're doing Kuros Coliseum. Because he's playing the 3 drop. 3 drop is just swing. He's gonna swing for 8. So, sorry if y'all hear my dog at all. But, I'll go ahead and grab Sabo. Because we already have a Kuros, so we'll just play Kuros. I don't think in this matchup we're going to be like popping a lot of cards. He's only summoning for 6, playing 2, so he's probably summoning brand new. I'm gonna just take the take the counter on that one. I think sometimes in the deck, you need to countering is probably where I think a lot of people may see trouble, I guess, because that feels like the. I don't think I'm playing Quarter Coliseum this turn. I think I'm just gonna play this, choose no targets, mill my card, and then use my effect to get another card. Grab King Kong. We'll probably set up Quarter Coliseum next turn, just because I want to make sure I'm trying to use this effect as much as possible. So now he's swing 5, means he's playing a 5-drop, means it's probably either Smoker, it's probably Smoker, like that's like the one card they would want to play. I go to use this. I think you just want to take your advantage on the counters. It's, I'm actually slow. I forgot this. I basically forgot this card was a thing now. I think the 10-drop card is going to be really good. They don't really have outs to this card in their deck. So now we have the Luffy. Luffy's going to come down next turn. We're going to swing 5. He should just take the block on this. So I think we want to go ahead and set up Quarter Coliseum. Because our next turn we're going to go Luffy into... I mean, we could just stand and then, like... My thought is, like... It doesn't really matter, I guess. I could have just kept it standing. And there's an argument where maybe I should have just kept it standing. But in my head, it's kind of like... Might as well just try and check 5. Sometimes people just will let the 5 go through and pitch a card, and I think that the card could just matter later on. So, get this. I don't think this is going to be a King Kong game. I'll keep it though. But I think the little blockers just aren't that good. So I'm going to pitch that one, and then I'll go ahead and pitch. I don't think this is a King. My thing about keeping King Kong right now is that, like, there's a chance that the Kuzan comes down if they're playing it, and I kind of want to have it for that situation, but I don't know what other situation I want to have it for. But I don't think I'm playing it anytime soon. Yeah, I'm going to pitch it for now. We could attack, but then he swings on us, which is fine. We just want him to swing into this, and then we can pitch the 2K to, like, protect it one last time before he arrests our leader. Because I want him to commit the Dawn to something, so I want him to, like, swing 5. Even actually, like, this is probably going to happen. I'm the type of person that, like, I want you to commit the Dawn to this. Like, I want you to try and swing into this. Like, I don't really mind. You're going to swing 5 again. So it means he's probably playing another 5-drop. It means it's probably another one of these. So I'm going to go ahead and just take it. Throw Lumbus, which is good. And then we'll push the 2K. I just want to make sure I'm getting good value off my cards. So he decides to play Garp, and then now we're just going to take this turn and go Luffy. So we're going to go Luffy. We're going to get the good swing, so we're going to make sure he pitches a lot of cards for these. We're set up to restand. I don't really care about... This card more important than the Sabo. But right here, we're just going to try and take all his cards. We're going to restand. Like I said... And like I said before, if this was in real life, I would actually, like, pay attention to what I'm stacking. But I am lazy, guys. I'm lazy on the sim. So, and we're kind of set up really well. So he's gonna pitch 2 more cards, and now he's gonna have no cards to play with. We're gonna go ahead and attack this Riz, and then we're gonna go ahead and attack the Sabo, and try and take him out of the rest of his cards. And now he has 2 cards. He has 4 cards to work with. One that pops card that doesn't pop anything on the board. And so he's just going to try and pressure us in this manner. I will keep the Olympus. I'm going to go ahead and pitch a Sabo here. This is mostly just for the fact that... so this, he's going to pop this. This is fine. I'm going to go ahead and attack the Garp. Go ahead and attack the lead, and this is where I think this is kind of where I think this card is going to start seeing some value. And we'll bounce our Rebecca as well. So now he's like, okay, cool. He's going to try and just still 7. He's going to try and do the damage again. I guess the question is, do I care if he rips 2? I do care. I'm going to go ahead and pitch 1, I think, just to, like, not take the damage. I'm going to just pitch the Becca. Yeah, like, I don't really care. I know he's going to still play it again, but decides to play Sakazuki this time. I think what we'll do now is, since he did this, I kind of want to get a little bit of cards out of my hand. So I'll swing 5 because I know he can't do anything about it. Swing 12 because I know he can't do anything about it. Like, we could still keep slow rolling. It's just not really my playstyle, to be honest. So we can either... I have a 2K, so I think I'm just gonna set it up again. I'm just make him. I'm just gonna make him freaking play it again. This time he's not getting any value off of it. He's gonna try and swing 7 again. So he's gonna try and swing 7 again, and then when he swings 7, we're gonna just swing 7. We're just gonna combo out of it, and then so official comes down. But now we're just gonna. So now he's gonna try and play a 10 drop. Yeah. So that's all I really want to do. Sorry guys, today I just don't really have time to play multiple games again. I think I'm going to try and plan my schedule a little bit better in order to get more games in, at least 2 to 3, or maybe I'll start just kind of doing what I've seen other people do, which is kind of filming games and then going over them. Let me know if y'all like either doing the live gameplay right there and there where I give you my actual thoughts in the middle of the game, or whether you would like me to just play a couple games and then just put it on speed and go talk over it. I think that'll help me just continue to make the channel better. But I think that's kind of like how you want to play Rebecca. You want to, like, if your opponent gives you the ability to like trade into their minions with fair trades, then you take those trades and then use your Luffy to kind of clear the board. Like I said, what happened is he decided to protect his Garp 2 times, so he pitched 4 cards for the Luffy, and then once you're at that long cards, that's when the deck starts taking advantage of you, because now it's like, okay, how much non-counter do you actually have in your hand? And every time you let something die, then it kind of gives your opponent the knowledge, okay, this is a non-counterable. What is a non-counterable in this deck? So now I'm able to plan around that non-counterable more than likely, or I have 2 options for it. So appreciate y'all checking out the deck. Like I said, this is a deck that I'll be testing a lot, playing a lot, going into Fort Worth. I do have a couple of online regionals. I don't know if I'll play some of the online regionals. Like I said before, these type of decks just, I don't know. I think it may just be my fault, lack of focus, but I think this just like doesn't really fare too well for me, so I may not play in the online regionals. So good luck to everybody at Knoxville. Good luck to my friends. Hopefully y'all enjoyed the OP04 series, testing all the leaders. Appreciate y'all joining in, and then I'll get into actually making some cool decks for this coming set, and just keep y'all updated. Thank you. Take care. Peace.